I just watched Sinners, and honestly, it was a great movie. And that's not something you can say these days about a lot of movies. But this was a good one. It had a good balance of cultural stuff in America along with sci fi stuff, which you don't think would go together, but it does. And that's anyway. Let's get back to the story of the movie. Now, in the story, there's Smoke and Stack, two brothers, who come back to their hometown after being in the city and making some money. Now, the time period, I don't remember if they show the time period exactly, the date, the year, but I think it was probably somewhere between 1920 and 30 or something, because there's some talk about the World War, one of the World Wars, and from the car that they drive, seems like that is for their time period. So it happens in that time period in America. And they want to start a juke joint, which I think is an old school version of a modern club for their own people, because this was a different time in America. And there, well, they decide to start the club, and on the opening day. Now, before that, we get introduced to a few other characters. Samuel, their cousin, he's a big part of the story. Then there's Mary, a love interest for one of the brothers. And, well, they start the club, and on the first night itself, three vampires show up, and then they turn a lot of people into vampires, the people in the club, and it ends up in a situation where even one of the Michael B. Jordan turns into a vampire. So there's one that's a vampire, one that's a human, and they have to fight each other. So in a situation where a few group of humans are trapped in the building, and then there's the vampires, there seem to be a lot of them, who are trying to get in, but they need permission. And one of the women in the group, the human group, lets them in because of a lot of personal stuff. And she felt that she had to. So they end up attacking. And honestly, if she didn't let them in, the movie probably would have been stretched out even more, because they could have just waited till daylight, because the vampires have to go away. When the sunlight comes out, or they'll burn. But yeah, so the vampires attack, and that part didn't really make a lot of sense from what actually happened, because there's only a few humans. I think there were 5 or 6 or something, and there were seemed to be a lot of vampires, and they managed to fend them off, even though they had weapons, but still, with the numbers, they should have been taken out easily, the humans. But they fend them off. A lot of get bitten and turned, and then there's Michael B. Jordan fights himself, and then there's the final part of the movie where the Michael B. Jordan that's still human, and Samuel, his cousin, they end up somehow managed to kill the vampire. Well, honestly, them killing the vampire, I guess technically they did. I don't know if they actually did kill the vampire, because Samuel slams his guitar into him, and there's a metal piece, which I'm assuming is something that harms them, maybe silver or something. And then the sunlight comes out immediately, and he starts burning, and all the other vampires burn, and they get saved just by luck. Because otherwise, I don't see any way that they were gonna survive this. So Michael B. Jordan and Samuel, they both escape. Samuel goes back to his father, and Michael B. Jordan takes out the clan members that were coming to kill them anyway, because he knew from the vampires that they were planning to come and take them all out. And that's how the story ends. And at the end there is a clip where Samuel's now a really old man. Now, in the movie, he was a really young kid. I think he was just 20 or something at the most. So he's there in his club, I think. And then there's the Michael B. Jordan that could turn into a vampire, and Haley Steinfeld's character. Now, I honestly think Haley Steinfeld's character needed a bit more in the movie. I feel like she was kind of wasted in this movie. We didn't get to really see enough of her. She was kind of like a side character in my opinion. Anyway, both of them show up, and turns out the other Michael B. Jordan didn't kill him, his brother, and let him go. And that's pretty much how the movie ends. And I guess this opens the way for a potential sequel if they want to. I mean, since Michael B. Jordan and his time first characters are still around, they could do a second movie where after they escape before the sun came out and all the other vampires burned, they decide to start new lives and start over somewhere. They could go in that direction. And we could see, I don't know, a new story of sorts. Now, personally, I would like to see a story similar to what a Dexter does because these two are vampires and they're probably going to need. I'm guessing they're going to need blood to survive, so they're going to probably end up having to kill people. So maybe it's a situation where they just go after bad guys and kill bad guys and feed on them. So yeah, there is plenty of potential for a sequel, and this movie is a great movie. So I see no reason why they couldn't do a sequel, and the fact that those two are still around at the end, I mean, that's clearly an opportunity to do a sequel if they want to. So let's wait if that comes out. Although I'm guessing, considering how busy these two actors are, it's probably gonna take a while for another movie to come out. But still, Sinners, it was a pretty great movie. So